What's up, guys? Welcome back to Comic Corner. If you guys guessed right last time, it's Civil War, the Marvel event of all Marvel events. Oh, shit. But anyway, the reason why I'm doing Civil War, it's in preparation for Marvel's movie Civil War, which is coming out next year. And, you know, fans that don't read the comics, I'm going to give a brief synopsis that want to know what's happening instead of reading it. But, it's not the Civil War from World War II that they teach in history class. It's Marvel Civil War. So, yeah, let's get into it. Ah! The book starts off with Speedball and his team called the New Warriors, and they have this really stupid, dumb reality show where they capture D-list supervillains. Yeah, we're so cool. But, anyways, the other team consists of Nitro and all these other lamos. But they go into attack, and during the battle, they end up incapacitating all the other villains. And the last one is Nitro. And Nitro's ability is to explode himself, cause explosions, but not ending up killing himself. Weird, but anyway. They end up fighting near a school. He causes an eruption, an explosion, and it just blows up the whole school, kills hundreds, maybe even thousands of kids. And this is where, you know, the people repel and, you know, they start boycotting superheroes and protesting, saying superheroes should tell us who they are, superheroes should work for the government. And it starts to become such a big deal that S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill's Captain of S.H.I.E.L.D. is Maria Hill, not Nick Fury at the time. And she ends up going to the government, and they end up talking, and it gets so far that they register the Superhero Registration Act, where all superheroes have to unmask themselves, work for the government, and become agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Iron Man is leading that, the pro-registration, and when Maria Hill and S.H.I.E.L.D. approach Captain America on what his thoughts are, he's completely 100% against it. He feels that heroes should have a right. They should have, you know, they should have freedom, as he would say. So when that happens, S.H.I.E.L.D. flips, they attack Cap, Cap breaks out of the S.H.I.E.L.D., he ends up leading his own underground superheroes, the anti-registration. So there's the pro-registration with Iron Man leading an anti-registration. And prior to that happening, before it became legal, before it became law, they were juggling on what the general consensus was. The majority of people just thought, that the heroes should register for the Pro-Registration Act. And a lot of heroes, like, it's kind of split down the middle. People are against it, and, you know, personally for me, I believe that I'm for the anti-registration. Heroes shouldn't have done this. This is the New Warriors. This is the reality, the stupid reality show. That should cause a negative impact on those heroes, not the revolving heroes about it. Now, I think this book is, like, I love that political aspect because it just seems so logical and reasonable that this would happen if superheroes were a thing. But the people really come into play, and, you know, the government has to do something about it, so it makes sense. So what happens is that Tony Stark ends up persuading Spider-Man to join the Pro-Registration, and he unreveals his identity on live TV, because that's what the Superhero Registration Act, that's what you have to abide by. So it's a really stupid choice for the writers to do that, because then it leads to a lot of shitty Spider-Man stories that I'm not going to get into. He has this really awesome kick-ass Iron Spider suit, which is kind of like an Iron Man suit, but it's in Spider-Man fashion. Like, the red is fabric, but the gold is, like, metal. And he has, like, repulsors. He has, like, these stingers that come out, kind of like the Superior Spider-Man outfit. It's one of the best Spider-Man suits, I would say, in Marvel Comics history. So he's on Tony Stark's team, and what ends up happening is when it becomes law, a lot of heroes get tranked and they get thrown in the negative zone. And what's also great about this event is you get to pick a side, and it's cool to get into debates or arguments with other fans that are with pro-registration. Or if I'm anti-registration, it's good to get into an argument or conversation why we think this better, blah blah blah, and all that. But what ends up happening is, like, even the Fantastic Four split down the middle. The X-Men aren't involved at all. They don't want to get involved. But Sue Storm and Johnny Storm, they go to this like club or something, and it goes as far as, like, the heroes are getting persecuted by civilians saying, "You killed those kids," and, you know, Johnny Storm ends up getting knocked out with a beer bottle, getting into an argument with these thugs or something. But he ends up in the hospital. But the Thing and Reed Richards are with Tony Stark, and Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are with Cap on Cap's team. Since they can be tracked by S.H.I.E.L.D., because S.H.I.E.L.D. can track down anybody, they create their own identities for themselves. Cap, Daredevil, Goliath, Spider-Man, they create their own identities. Like, Captain America pretends to be a cop. Goliath pretends to be an engineer. They have these own little outfits that they wear to mislead you to think, oh, that's not Cap, you know, that sort of thing. So they have their own fake identities, and they were all made up by Nick Fury. Nick Fury gave them new IDs and all this, new identities, so they can't be tracked by S.H.I.E.L.D., which I thought was really cool. And they eventually end up fighting, and Cap and Iron Man have a brutal battle. Iron Man completely obliterates Cap because he's just far superior, and his suit can depict every move Cap's gonna throw, every hit Cap's gonna throw before he even knows it. So it's a brutal battle, but it gets to the point where some of people on the pro registration start to question Iron Man's leadership, because Iron Man's kind of cheating as well. He creates this cyborg Thor, which it's kind of like a clone of Thor that he used from Thor's DNA. So, and the cyborg Thor shoots a lightning bolt through Goliath's chest and kills Goliath, and that puts his leadership in check. Spider-Man questions if he's on the right side or the good side or not, and that leads to Spider-Man saying, you know, get into an argument with Stark about why are you sending these heroes to the negative zone, and it ultimately leads to them fighting. Spider-Man breaks out, and he ends up getting the shit kicked out of them by the Thunderbolts, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is also using villains as a threat to the anti-registration. Basically, they basically say to the villains, you're going to do as we say, or if you kill any of the heroes, we're going to lock you back up or treat you even worse. So they're using the villains, and the villains kick the shit out of this Spider-Man. Punisher comes to the rescue, kills some of the Thunderbolts, and gets Spider-Man back to Cap's underbase hideout. The final conclusion, the final battle, leads to they are fighting New York City. They destroy a lot of shit. It's chaotic. Cap has another battle with Iron Man, but he gets the jump on Iron Man because Vision kind of disables Tony Stark's suit. So in the end, I honestly think this ending, the conclusion for Civil War, is bullshit. Cap ends up saying, we're not fighting for the people. We're winning everything except for the argument. Which is bullshit, because this has nothing to do with the people. This has to do with the heroes' rights. The people have no question, they have no say, which is bullshit. But anyway, he ends up, you know, revealing his identity, and he gets cuffed up. He lets himself get arrested by the cops. So that's that's the conclusion for Civil War, and the pro-registration wins as the anti-registration fails. Even though I think the anti-registration, they would have still lost because they're going up against S.H.I.E.L.D., the government, and Tony Stark's team. So, but I still think that it wasn't right for the Registration Act to be that strict on all heroes. So, yeah. I honestly think one of the best Marvel events, though. It's smart, it's innovative, it's wow. The art is great. The art makes it look real. It almost looks like kind of like a. It's written very cinematically. That's what I would say. Yeah, very cinematically written. A great book. Honestly, say pick it up. You won't regret it.